I'm sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. My live video just cut off out of the blue. Maybe it's because this is some really good information that's being put out there, but I'm back. So, as I was saying, you just want to recognize that life in and of itself is on the even keel and that life is neutral, right? But the things that happen to you in life and how you respond to the things that happen to you in life is what makes the difference in whether you perceive life to be a good thing or you perceive life to be a bad thing. All right. So another thing that you can do to be a more peaceful person is to look at your life as a whole and realize that you have to trust the process of life. If you think about Dr. Wayne Dyer says this, great prolific speaker, rest in peace, Dr. Dyer. He says that a baby that's in utero, a baby doesn't worry about whether it will grow limbs or not. It just does. And so when it comes to your life and being a more peaceful person, this is probably one of the most dynamic points, is to realize that you have to trust the process that you are going through in your life. You have to trust, Big Ben, what's good, man? You have to trust that your life will turn out exactly the way it is supposed to. When you plant a tree, the tree doesn't worry. If you plant an apple tree doesn't worry whether it'll grow or not. It doesn't worry whether it'll get watered or not. It doesn't worry if it's going to grow apples or not. Because everything that an apple tree needs to grow into an apple tree is already inside of the seed. I need y'all to catch this. Trust the process of life. Because when you were created in utero, everything that you needed to be who you need to be is already inside of you. If you think about a seed, once again, if you think about an apple tree doesn't worry about whether it'll grow into an apple tree. An apple tree just knows that it'll be an apple tree. Why? Because everything that it needed to become an apple tree is already inside of the seed. Why do you think that before we are born and we're created, when the act of sex happens, there is a seed that is planted, right? Because all of the DNA and every single little thing that will be needed to become you is in that itty bitty teeny seed. So trust the process. Trust that you will become whoever it is that you see yourself to be. You have to trust that. Right? Now, I know that life can be, again, we talked about life can be pretty negative sometimes, right? Because we're fed all of these negative stimuluses. So it's hard sometimes to see the light at the end of the tunnel when all you're being fed is negativity in the news, negativity from friends, negativity from family, negativity from TV, negativity from the radio. And these are reasons that it's hard to trust the process, right? But in order to be a more peaceful person, you have to learn how to go with the flow of life. See yourself as that apple tree that doesn't want for anything. The apple tree doesn't have to beg for water. It doesn't have to beg for soil. It doesn't have to beg for oxygen. It doesn't have to beg for food. Everything that it needs is given to it freely. And if you can believe this same thing, you can be more at peace. All right. Another thing that you can do to be a more peaceful person is to not sweat the small stuff. There's a book that I like to read. It's called, and I read this all the time. My wife is like, you always read that. This is like a Bible to me when it comes to being a peaceful person. If you want to be a more peaceful person, I would recommend that you get this book. So it's a great book. It's called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it is all small stuff by Dr. Richard Carlson. And in one part of the book, Dr. Carlson talks about the fact that life isn't an emergency and that everything in life, we tend to treat it like an emergency, right? Like everything has to get done right now. Like everything is such a big rush, when in all actuality, most things in life ain't that serious. We are the ones that hold a gun to our head and demand that we reach all these expectations at this time. It's us that does that. It's us that gives everything such a sense of urgency and emergency. It's us. In order to be a more peaceful person, you have to learn to let go of the small stuff. Even an argument. Let's just say you and someone are arguing and you know you're right. Sometimes it's just better to keep the peace and let them be wrong. It's okay to allow people to be wrong and just say, okay. Because sometimes your peace is more than an argument. I'm not saying that you shouldn't stick up for yourself, but what I'm saying is you should let the truth prevail. And instead of working your blood pressure up, and you know that talking to another person is like beating a dead horse, allow them to be wrong. And it's okay to allow people to be wrong. It's okay. Save yourself a headache. So the first thing we talked about when becoming a more peaceful person is to recognize the default pattern that's inside of us. Recognize that it's in us to be negative. And it's not because we want to be negative. It's just because of all of the different conditioning that we're taught to be negative. The next thing you want to do is trust the process. Trust that whatever it is that you want to accomplish or you want to see happen, trust and know that it will happen. And see yourself as an apple tree, not needing anything outside of you in order to survive. The next thing is allow other people to win sometime. It's okay to just say, okay, in a conversation. It's okay to let other people be wrong. Some people, I used to hear people say, oh, it's okay to let other people be right. If they're wrong and they know they dead wrong, save yourself an argument and let the other person just be wrong. Allow other people to win sometimes. The next thing that you want to do to be a more peaceful person, like I said, is to learn to let go of the small stuff. Understand that you don't have to fight every battle. Every battle is not yours to fight. Because all you're going to do is end up frustrated with high blood pressure and probably a case against you because you done went off and snapped on somebody. It's not worth it. The situation isn't worth it, but you are totally worth it. So don't give people the satisfaction of making you angry and upset and getting you bent all out of shape. It's not worth it. All right. Another thing that you can do when it comes to being a more peaceful and positive person is to pray and meditate. Prayer and meditation are two of what I would probably say are the biggest contributing factors to me being a peaceful person. I always, and I preach this all the time, I don't care what you believe in. You can believe in God, you can believe in Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Allah. It don't matter what you believe in. Believe in something, and believe in something bigger than you, because what that'll do for you is when there are things that you don't understand, believing in that higher power, you're able to cast your cares onto this higher power, right? Understanding that everything is not in your control for a reason. And it's that this higher power is the thing that's there to take care of the things that you can't take care of. And that's why prayer is so important to me. It gives me an outlet. It allows me to almost talk to God like a therapist, you know, and I know that God will have my back because God has always had my back. And I know that God will also have your back too. So prayer, meditation. Meditation is really good to me. You can do a guided meditation on YouTube, or you can just sit down, close your eyes, and just breathe. Meditation is known to help with chronic pain. It helps with anger. It helps with frustration. It helps with stress and depression. Meditation is something that, especially the breathing part of meditation, is something that is very beneficial to our bodies as well as our minds, right? So a lot of people say, well, I'm not patient enough to meditate. It's okay. There isn't really a right or wrong way to do meditation. If all else fails, there's this app called Headspace that kind of walks you through the process of meditation. And a lot of people tend to think that meditation is this long, drawn out thing that you have to do, you know, for hours at a time. Yo, you could do a quick 5-minute meditation. You can do meditation while you're on your break at work. You can do a meditation right before you go to bed. You can do a meditation before you go to work. You can get huge benefits from doing a very short meditation every single day. Just go to YouTube and type in guided meditations or short guided meditations, and I promise you a whole ton of meditations will come up. But meditation is important. Another big thing that's important when it comes to being a more peaceful person is learning how to breathe. I know you've heard this, take a breath and breathe, but not just any breath. Learn how to take belly breaths where you're breathing from your stomach. I find that when I'm really frustrated and angry, or I'm stressed out, taking deep breaths into my nose, out through my mouth, if I do that 3 times, my body instantly calms. And belly breaths are not hard. You can do 3 belly breaths in a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds with just breathe in through your nose and try to breathe in through your stomach to where your stomach contracts and just blow out all of the air. Do it 3 times, and I guarantee you it will help with any frustration or anger in the moment. I promise you it will. 3 belly breaths, and you can try a meditation and a prayer. All of that helps me when it comes to being a more peaceful person. So I'm going to recap really quick. So when it comes to being a more peaceful person, you want to recognize our default pattern of thinking. Our default pattern of thinking is negative. Why? Because we're conditioned to think negative, and we live in a negative world. And that negativity controls our negative self-talk. The things that we say to ourselves, oh, I'm scared. Oh, I have anxiety. Oh, I'm worried. All of that comes from the negative conditioning that we have. So the first thing you want to do is just be aware of some of this negative conditioning. The next thing you want to do is you want to trust the process of becoming, right? Realize that you are like a seed from an apple tree. And the fact that an apple tree doesn't have to worry about whether or not it will be an apple tree. Why? Because everything that the apple tree needs is already inside of the seed. It doesn't have to ask for water. It doesn't have to ask for shelter. It doesn't have to ask for food. Why? Because a apple tree trusts the process. And you, my man, you, my woman, are a seed just like an apple tree. The next thing you want to do is not to sweat the small stuff. Understand that every battle is not yours to fight. You don't have to stress yourself and worry yourself about every little thing that comes across your path. It is okay. Understand that you can go with the flow of life. Don't allow everything to just bother you and get you upset. Don't sweat the small stuff because it's all small stuff. Right? And that it's us that tends to hold a gun to our head and demand that we get this done and meet this goal. We tend to set expectations that are so unrealistic that when we don't meet them, we will beat ourselves up with that negative self-talk. So if you want to be a more peaceful person, stop sweating everything. The next thing you want to do is pray and meditate. Prayer and meditation is a huge thing if you want to be a more peaceful person. One of the reasons I said that I pray is because the God that I believe in might be different for you, but the God that I believe in takes care of the problems that I can't take care of. So there's a sense of ease knowing that something handles the things that I can't handle. So you can have a sense of peace there. The next thing you want to do is you want to meditate. You might say, well, I don't know how to meditate. I told you, download the app, Headspace, really good app. Meditation can be 5 minutes long. It can be 10 minutes long. Some people meditate for hours at a time. But if you're just now getting started, go to YouTube, type in short guided meditation and start meditating. The next thing you can do to be a more peaceful person is learn how to breathe. Use your body's automatic anti-anxiety pill. Deep breaths, belly breaths, in through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Do that 3 times and your body will release an anti-anxiety pill. I promise you, it works. The last thing that you want to do to be a more peaceful person is to recognize and realize that good things are supposed to happen to you. Remember, I was telling y'all in the beginning that we're conditioned to think negatively. It's almost like if we get a good break, let's say you've been struggling for a long time. I'll give you guys an example with me. I moved to Chicago with my wife, and I had been looking for a job for like 3 or 4 months, and it was like nothing was coming through for you, man. And I am a little old school where, yeah, my wife is a nurse. She makes good money, but I was uncomfortable with the fact that my wife was pretty much handling everything, and I couldn't really contribute a lot financially because I was sick and I wasn't able to find any work. Pissed off, yo. Like, y'all put in all these applications and ain't nobody. You can ask my wife. I literally put in hundreds of applications. Nobody called me back. Finally, months and months after doing that, I finally started to get a bunch of work, more work than I could handle, right? And so now being in the place to have to turn work away, I'm just like, yo, this is too good to be true. Eventually, something is gonna happen and I'm gonna be back struggling again. This is the wrong attitude to have. I think this is because we are so conditioned to think that bad things are supposed to happen to us, or we think that, oh, it's too good to be true. Eventually something is going to go bad. But I would challenge you to think that, what if things are good for you right now, and what if they get better? Because things can get worse or they can get better. What we tend to do is we just think about the worst. Oh, well, things are going to get bad. But what if things get better? What if your life just takes off? Now, can we avoid problems? Absolutely not. We can't avoid problems and they happen. But what if God is telling you right now, I want for your life is going to be better from here on out? Yeah, you may have problems, but you'll be able to deal with those problems. One of the things that you must believe if you want to be a more peaceful person is that good things are supposed to happen to me, because they do. Good things are supposed to happen to you. I want you to repeat that to yourself. Good things are supposed to happen to me. Great things are supposed to happen to me. You don't have to always worry yourself about the negative stuff. That bad stuff, yes, bad stuff is going to happen, but good stuff is going to happen too. Don't put a curse on your life before it can get started. You deserve for good things to happen to you because you have been through so much hell that now all you think is that bad things are supposed to happen to you. And I think that a lot of us, that's how we feel. We feel like so much bad has happened to us that nothing real good can really happen. But the reality is, good stuff is supposed to happen to you because you deserve it. You deserve good things to happen to you. Well, you guys, those are some of my practical tips on how to be a more peaceful person. This video is gonna stay here. It's gonna be right here on my Facebook. I'm also going to upload it to my YouTube channel. So if you want to follow me on YouTube, go to YouTube and type in CeoShaw or CeoShaw, or type in Conscious Elevation. All of my content will come up. I'm super excited about 2019 as there are some freaking phenomenal things that are getting ready to happen in 2019. I'm going to relaunch my book, but I'm going to relaunch it in 2019. So y'all be looking out for that, My Thoughts. And I appreciate y'all. If you're watching this video right now, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, know that I pray for you every single day, because you don't have to take time out of your busy day to sit here and watch me on Facebook. I don't take for granted all of the people that follow me and people that support me right here on social media. So I'm thankful for you. I'm grateful for you, and I'm humbled that you would give me the opportunity to speak into your life today. So I'm getting up ready to get up out here. This is CEO Shaw, hashtag I am CEO Shaw. Remember to follow me. I'm right here on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm also on Snapchat, man. And like I always like to say, stay spiritual, stay grounded, and always move forward.